Plaintiffs Matthew Parker and Camille Henry say Camille used to be friends with the defendant, and years later they reconnected and rented an apartment together. Matthew claims after the defendant moved in, she didn't contribute to the household and even stole their food. And they're suing her today for moving out before their lease expired. Defendant Nakisha Baker says after she moved in with the plaintiffs, Matthew became aggressive and started belittling her. And then he moved 2 escorts into the apartment with them. Nakisha claims Matthew's side job was to provide security for these escorts. And Nakisha was forced to move out because she no longer felt safe.
Tell me what happened here.
I know the defendant. We've been friends for 9 years, and we used to work together in Florida, and basically, I've always known her to be cheap, but I've never known her to be shady. So then we moved to Florida.
Cheap as in what?
Just meaning, like, for example, she'd never pitch in for gas or, like, ever buy a drink for any of our friends, or she'd always back out of a bill.
All right.
And then we moved to New York, and we reestablished our friendship again. And Matthew and I, we needed an extra roommate to move into an apartment, and we asked Nakisha to move in with us.
What was the agreement on the rent?
And the agreement on the rent basically is, you know, if you break the lease.
No, I'm saying the amount.
Oh.
It was $1,850 3 ways, so everybody was responsible for $617 monthly.
All right. And did she sign the lease?
Yes.
All right. You have it with you?
Yes.
What do you want to give me in terms of background now?
Basically, I've known Camille since 2003. You know, like she said, we were friends. I met Matthew through Camille. He seemed like a decent guy when I met him. I never had a problem with Camille, so I basically used her judgment and moved in with them. However, when I moved in with him, his whole attitude, persona, it completely changed.
How so?
He would just like come at me in a certain way where he would just talk down to me. He would curse and belittle me. We had situations like that in the house.
That is not true. I've never talked down or cursed at her.
Never say anything out of the way to him?
Never.
All right.
That's interesting because there was a night in particular when we moved in, and I don't remember what he was upset about. And he was trying to ask me something, and I was pretty unhappy because I realized I lost my phone. I had important business contacts. And I was like, not right now. He was like, I don't give a and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not in the mood to have a conversation. And he became very irrational with me. So it's very interesting. He never spoke to me in that manner.
How are you all suing her for breaking the lease? What occurred? Tell me the circumstances.
Well, we had a meeting, a house meeting.
As in the 3 of you?
The 3 of us had a house meeting because she was stealing our food. Because we all had a verbal agreement of moving in that, you know, we all share everything in the house. She had food stamps and she was getting unemployment. So at the time, you know, we figured, hey, we'll all just share food. But she never once went to the grocery store with us. Everything that we bought in the house was from Matt and I's contribution.
So when you all had the meeting, what was discussed?
We basically, Matt.
What we discussed, Yana, was her behavior since she moved in. Her not contributing to anything in the house, but consuming constantly.
At the end of the meeting, what was the resolution?
The resolution was, okay, you don't use our stuff if you can't contribute to the rest of the house. At that point, she became combative, and she began to scream at me, yell at me about me playing my music loud on one night in particular. I agreed with her that I shouldn't play the music loud at night, and she actually it agitated her further. I guess that I didn't want to argue. I was very calm the entire time. She began to curse at me. She actually made a motion like she was going to attack me or something. And she stated that she would be moving out. I said, that's fine. You can move out if you want, but you still have your financial obligations to attend to. Because in the lease, it states that anyone breaking the lease is responsible for $1,850, which is one portion of the
person that breaks the lease.
Whoever breaks the lease.
All right. Let me hear from you, ma'am.
The whole fact that he said, I just decided to leave, it didn't happen like that. We came to a conclusion. He mentioned the thing with the food. He was like, I was shady. I wasn't contributing, which was not true. Camille and I went to Target to go shopping that first week. Camille failed to mention that when it came time to move in, she was short a part of the deposit in which Matt covered her end of the bargain.
Tell me what led you to move out.
What led me to move out was Matthew's attitude towards me. Like I said, belittling me, cursing at me. I stayed in my room. We had that meeting.
Did you mention that in the meeting?
Yes.
Did she mention this, ma'am, in the meeting? Okay. Go ahead.
It's not true, but okay. What made me decide to kind of leave was when we got to the point we were having a conversation, and I was like, he told me he didn't respect me. So I said, how are we supposed to live together if you don't respect me? You're right, we can't live together. His words exactly, and Camille, you know, he said this, you were there as a witness. It was either you leave or I leave.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, a week later, they brought in escorts into the home. They decided to rent out Camille's room to two young ladies that answered an ad on Craigslist, which turned out to be escorts. The reason how I know this, when the young ladies left, Camille showed me the computer where it said unprofessional unprofessional college escorts, which were on the screen that Camille showed me. She also told me the very next day that, yes, you did, Camille, because I don't look at your computer.
Whatever, Nikisha.
Anyways, you need to stop lying. God knows, sees and knows everything, sweetie pie. So you think you're getting away. Yes.
Caesar.
And then on top of it, the next day, Camille
Hold on, back up. Explain that to me.
What happened?
You said God, then you said Caesar knows everything.
No, I said C's, like C.
Okay. You said Caesar.
Not Caesar, no Caesar. And the next day, she let me know that that same night, Matt went out with the young ladies. He was driving them around. So apparently he was making money off of this, driving them around. He was playing security for them. She explained to me.
How do you know all that?
Camille came back and told me the next day, because mind you, we had a relationship and a rapport. She stopped talking to me after a
Camille
while.
came back and told you
Yes.
that Matthew was pimping now.
Basically, if that's what you call it, he was pimping because he would take. I don't have any reason to lie.
If he got two women who are providing services to men for money, and he was the one watching out for them, making sure they bring that money back.
That made me feel uncomfortable living in the house. Mind you, 2 weeks later after that, we had the police come to the house. Apparently, I went out, came back in. I don't know what happened with the altercation. They were being escorted out. It's
Did
on
the
file
police
at the
come and
police.
escort you all out?
No, not escort
young
me.
lady.
Escorted the young lady out.
Why?
Because I found out she was an escort. I didn't know she was an escort coming in. I found out that she was an escort. And what happened that night, she brought two people to the house. And I told her, you can't have your friends here. And she became argumentative. She actually hit me. And that's why I called the police. That's why the police showed up.
All right. This $1850 that she owes, did you all pay it on her behalf?
Yes, we had to pay the landlord because the lease was broken.
All right.
I
You have
worked out
evidence
an
that you paid
arrangement.
it?
We actually have a letter from the landlord.
Okay, let's see it. Ma'am, is that your understanding, that you were to pay $1850 if you broke the lease?
No, my understanding is that I lose my deposit is what the landlord said, which means I walk away with nothing. I made an arrangement with the landlord before I left so that everybody would not lose anything. Basically, they were looking for a roommate. I said I would assist them. I said I would do what I need to do, work out an arrangement where I would get the money.
To find a roommate when
Is this
you
your
weren't even
landlord?
paying.
What's your landlord's name? Jackson?
Her name is Yvette Jackson.
Okay, well, she says something different. She says that you broke the lease with full knowledge that you would be responsible for $1850.
That's not what she explained to me. But like I said, I did discuss things with her. Matthew asked me about that because she called and he told me he didn't want me to be a part of anything. He didn't want me to have anything to do with it. He worked out an arrangement with the landlord on his own.
Actually, Yana, that's not true.
And that was said in front of Camille. Yes, you did. That was the night the escorts came in the house.
I actually had no conversations with her.
Landlord says about you, ma'am, they say they believe that you never had planned to pay any rent from the start of your tenancy, and you were scheming on a way to do so, possibly by causing the window to malfunction, trying to get out of rent, they're saying. She called me several times after the rent fiasco in attempts to defame Matt and Camille. She also tried to create confusion by telling different stories and outright lies. This is the landlord.
Well, it's very interesting. She writes that letter.
I then reminded her that she had signed a contract and would be responsible for the $1850 that was stipulated in the lease.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a good rapport with her. The one in the house that had a good rapport with her was Matt. Even Camille didn't have a good rapport with her. She dealt with Matthew with everything in the house.
So she wants you to pay $1850 because she doesn't like you.
No. I'm not saying that's why she wants me to pay.
Why
but
then? Tell me why.
Because of breach of contract is what they're stating here now. But she explained to me I lose it, which means I don't get back my money. That's what she told me over the phone.
The landlord told you you didn't have to pay $1850. Let's just get right to it.
No, she told me if I can get as long as we get somebody to move in and there's no loss of money, it's not a problem with me leaving. There's no penalty.
So why do you think she wrote this letter?
Because whatever she made arrangements with them and I made arrangements with her didn't coincide. I left. They made a different arrangement, and I don't know what to say.
The lease says that you would have to pay $18.50 for breaking the lease. Secondly, the letter says this from the landlord that she discussed with you and told you that, ma'am.
Yeah.
$18.50 for the plaintiffs based on the lease, based on the letter from the landlord. Have a good day. That's my judgment.